Hello, human peoples. You're listening to the podcast network of Gamefully Unemployed. To support us and gain access to great exclusive podcasts like Fox Mulder is a Maniac, Tom and Jeff Watch Batman, Star Trek The Next Futurama, and our latest show, Spiel Boys, head over to patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. We do game streaming, movie nights with our patrons every Friday night, and you can even commission your own podcast about anything you want. Literally anything, within reason, and we have to do it. You are quite frankly out of excuses not to go visit patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. That's patreon.com/GAMEFULLY unemployed, which is spelled like it sounds.
Lightning crashes.
Lightning crashes.
Spooky wolf sounds.
Yeah. Jack
Stop.
Nicholson shouting about the publishing industry. That's spooky wolf sounds, right?
That's spooky. I get it. I get
there
it.
you go. Spooky 1994's wolf sounds.
Hi, everybody.
Hello, everyone.
My name is David Bell.
My name is Tom Ryman.
And we just watched a 2024 horror movie special.
A Halloween Spooktacular.
Cue the sound effects.
Ho, ho, ho! Merry Christmas!
Ooh. We just improvised.
For a second,
This
I
premise.
couldn't tell if you were about to do a ghoulish whale. Like if you were going to add
I'm
to the
always
bit.
kind of doing a ghoulish whale.
But then I realized it was just you forcing your way through an intro.
Well, yeah, I mean, for the record, for people listening, we literally, like, 2 minutes ago said, hey, let's do this.
Yeah, we called an audible.
Yeah, we did. We had a different plan, but we were like, fuck it. It's the
the holidays.
We just watched before Halloween. Yeah, this isn't like a year wrap up, but like it occurred to us that we had separately seen a lot of horror movies that we wanted to tell each other about, and also Thomas had to go have a baby.
Yeah.
And so there are a few movies that were covered.
Not me
on
personally,
We Just
but
Watched.
I was involved.
You were involved. You witnessed it. You were there.
I did. I witnessed it.
Yeah. And so like we might as well revisit
Yeah, there's a couple.
some stuff.
Yeah.
Because like fuck it. Again, it's Halloween. A lot of these are on streaming.
Because we're friends, we're movies, and we're Halloween.
Exactly.
That's why
That's
we want to
exactly.
talk Halloween movies with friends.
So we have two distinct categories. Movies that have been covered on We Just Watched but you were absent for,
Right.
and then movies that we haven't covered. What do you think we should start first with?
How about the movies we haven't covered?
Okay.
That seems like a
that.
tasty treat
Yeah, and you know what? Let's start with the movie that we were originally going
that
to
we
cover.
were going to cover, yeah.
So, I mean,
All on
obviously
its own.
Venom's out.
Yeah.
And like, I think we should cover Venom at
We
some
definitely
point.
should. We're going to. It's just logistically, like, neither Dave or I can really comfortably see it this weekend.
I can't. I don't want to speak for Tom, but folks, there's an election coming, and I happen to also work on a political show,
Yeah.
and so that's all to say that I personally just didn't have the time. And Tom, you had your reasons as well.
goddamn days, Dave.
Yeah,
It is in
Fuck.
12 days. I do not envy you guys.
yeah. Oh, listen, it's fine. It's fine.
I'm strategically waiting until after the election to come back, you've noticed.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Good idea. Very good idea. Fuck. Okay. Strange Darling.
Yeah.
On streaming. This movie, I know we talked about it on Hypecast at one
Yeah,
point.
it was a little buzzy a bit earlier in the year.
Because the trailer was very much like like I had said, like I felt like there was some sort of twist because the trailer, everybody was sort of like talking about it in that context. I wouldn't call it necessarily a twist. I guess it is a twist, but
It is.
yeah. This is the one that Giovanni Ribisi is the DP on for some reason.
Oh, no kidding. Okay.
Yeah.
I had forgotten that. I remember now. Yeah.
Yeah.
Wait, who did he cameo as?
He did a voice, probably just on the radio or something. I don't fucking know.
That's probably him on the radio.
Yeah. Willa Fitzgerald and Kyle Gallner, who I point out he's in Smile too.
He's Smile, yeah.
He's Smile.
And Willa Fitzgerald is the Jack Reach. She's in the Jack Reach.
That's it.
And she was also in The Usher. She was in The Usher.
Oh. If people were wondering, I'm certainly not going to see Smile too.
No.
Yeah.
We talked. Did we do an episode about Smile?
Smile.
We
covered
did.
Smile.
Okay.
And maybe Smile 2 is better. I don't know. I don't care.
I've heard some people say it's fun.
I'm sure it's fun. Maybe I'll watch it when
some
it's
of my friends and colleagues.
Yeah, but that first movie felt like a kind of a grift to me. I feel
we talked about it.
Yeah. This movie, very interesting. So if people don't know, it's sort of a cat and mouse between a guy and a lady, and it's told out of order. We probably shouldn't spoil the movies we talk about, right?
We should endeavor not to as much as possible.
All right, that's all to say. The movie presents itself as pretty twisty from the start, I would say.
Yeah.
So it's a movie about perception, right?
Yes. Perception and as it relates to the social contract.
Yeah.
How we perceive gender roles.
Yep. Did you like this one?
I did. We talked briefly about it off mic, but
yeah.
At first, and I think other people might have the same problem, the directing felt a little too loud, because it starts with it starts with a black and white shot that's out of context. Then it goes into this opening narration that's very reminiscent of the Texas Chainsaw Massacre.
Yeah, it's like in this date, a series of murders. Yeah.
And this is a recreation of what happened in those final days. And then it goes into Strange Darling, a thriller in 6 chapters, chapter 3. And so at that point, I was like, oh shit, pick an intro,
it did that
guys.
Freeze frame, intro with the titles. And then it said, it did the names as the demon, as the lady in. And it was just fucking, what are you? Are you Tarantino?
Yeah.
What do you want to be?
Yeah,
because it felt like they were just trying to pick. It actually reminded me of Tarantino because I've bitched about Tarantino before.
Yes, for
my
this
always
exact
feeling with
thing.
him. Yes, my always feeling with him is that his movies his style is based around whatever movies he watched that month. And so they always feel like this mishmash of oh, I want to do this and I want to do this and this and this. I want to be like David Lean, but also do this. And that always bothered me because it didn't feel like it had intent. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think so. We've talked about that a few times before. I agree to an extent, but I also feel like he does have his own little personal stank that he puts on it.
Yeah.
In a good way, a good stank.
It's hard to be mad at Tarantino.
Yeah.
I just think I like his writing more usually than his directing.
Sure. I get it.
Yeah. And that's all to say this movie stunk of that. At the beginning, and I kept seeing it pop up on lists, and Red Letter Media did a sudden oh, we got to talk about Strange Darling. So watching it, I was sort of I know there's a reason everybody's talking about it, but in the first 20 minutes, it was losing me.
Yeah,
it was losing me.
So I did want to say, even though we're not going to spoil it, stick with it, because all the things we were complaining about, whether or not you enjoy them and how they were executed, they were done for a reason. There is a reason it's doing it. Well, yeah,
I think
there's a reason it's doing
stylistic choices.
There's a reason it's told out of order.
Yes, absolutely. And this is all to say, the first 20 minutes, I was rolling my eyes and going oh,
yes,
fuck.
yeah.
And what I'll also say is overall I really, really liked this movie.
I did, yeah.
It won me over. Willa Fitzgerald is fucking incredible in it.
She's very fun, yeah.
Yeah. And
there's something that happens at the end that I don't quite like, but I can't really talk about it without spoiling the movie.
We'll say it off mic then.
But
Ed Begley Jr.'s there, by the way.
There's an Ed Begley that shows up and a Barbara Hershey as well.
Yep. They
pop up.
Pretty awesome.
Ed Begley has a little ponytail. That's a little treat for everyone.
They're playing kind of my parents. They're playing like forest hippies.
Yeah, old hippies living in the woods.
Yeah. They're playing a lot of people's
farm.
Parents. Yeah. But that's all to say that, like, if you like Tarantino and loud filmmaking, then you'll probably enjoy this through and through.
Yeah.
But for me, it did feel like it's weird because, again, I really like this movie, but I'm wondering if I will always like this director's work based on this, if that makes sense, where I'm like, I think this is a really strong script, and I think it's well shot, but I think the post-production side was where I'm like, I am so irritated.
Yeah, because even though I'll sing this movie's praises, I really enjoyed it as well. I don't understand the reason for the Texas Chainsaw intro. Like that's completely superfluous.
It felt like I once wrote with someone who did this too, where it's like if they read a book or saw a movie that week, they'd suddenly like really obsessively want to do that thing. And that's what it felt like to me, is like it's that feeling of like I really want to do this thing in my movie, but is it the right movie for that? And the intro especially, it was like 4 different styles.
Yeah, it was. And it felt like 3 different movies.
Yeah, and the Texas Chainsaw one was absolutely inappropriate for this movie.
Yeah, it wasn't just that it was stylistically loud. It was that it doesn't fit at all.
Yeah,
like there's not. Like that can be interesting and compelling to do, like the way it's done in Texas Chainsaw, but it just didn't fit with the way it didn't fit with this movie and the way that the suspense is done in this movie. It's just, really, really, really bizarre choice,
but very fun movie.
Yes, definitely worth watching.
Yeah, I'd say it's on the side of like slasher horror. It might even be seen as more of a thriller in terms of like the horror rating of this movie, right?
Yeah, I would liken it a little to something like High Tension a little bit.
Yeah,
it's not as graphic as High Tension, but
it's not. I guess trigger warning. They dabble in sexual assault fantasies, and that's sort of also a spoiler. And I hate that that's also a spoiler. Meaning that
we just talked about that a little bit in Blink Twice.
Yeah, where like this movie deals with sexual assault, but it also doesn't.
Sort of.
Yeah.
Anyway, that's as much as we should say about it.
Yeah. Should I just shout one at you and see if you've seen it?
Yeah, do it.
Because I think right now the balance of power, because you are a new father, so I have seen more movies than you. Did you watch A Quiet Place day one?
I did not.
Surprisingly good. I am not a fan of A Quiet Place, as people know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here's what I'll say about it. It is not really linked at all to the others.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't feel like it has a completely different tone to it for that reason. Lupita Nyong'o is just always incredible in everything she is in. It's the director of Pig, so it's a lot more emotional.
That's right.
Yeah, it's a more of an emotional story. It's more of a human story. It felt like, and I don't know if this is true, but it felt like the characters were less dumb, than in the other ones. It sort of was a simpler story too, where you're just not asking those questions where you're like, well, why don't they just live near the waterfall? It's literally day one, so everybody's trying to figure it out. What I'll say is Lupita Nyong'o's, and this is not a spoiler. Her motivation is she just wants a slice of pizza, and I love that. Like it's little things like that where it's and her character comes from a very unique place, and it's very well shot, and so like it's not like incredible, but for like a monster movie,
for
an
the
apocalypse
third Quiet
movie,
Place movie,
yeah, it's sort of, you don't need to see the other two, and that's why it's good.
I've only seen the first one.
Yeah, I've only seen the first one. I never saw the second. It's just a very solid, really good filmmaker with really good actors making a very simple monster story where it's just very focused on the characters. And for that reason, it was good.
Yeah, I mean, I would argue that the first one is character focused too. It
was just, it was just, I don't know.
How much
I
did you
haven't
get
seen
out
it
of
in a
it?
while. Yeah, that was the thing. That first one, I don't even remember. I remember it being silly. Like the thing, like the plot points, like the fact that she was pregnant. And when you do the math, you realize she got pregnant during the apocalypse.
Yes. Yeah. No, it was, that still stands in that the characters and all of their situations are just because they're kind of dumb.
Yeah. Yeah. This one felt less like that.
Fair enough.
Yeah. Should we talk about Tarot?
we can.
I have nothing to say about Tarot, Tom.
We watched it on a movie night, so if you were there, you've probably already heard all of our thoughts on it, but you let me down, Tarot. Not that I had great expectations
I was
for
going to say,
Tarot.
you had expectations for Tarot?
Only slightly. My expectation for Tarot was just like, I thought it was a fun idea for a slasher movie. It's like, they get tarot readings and then you get terrorized by the individual, like the different little freaks that are on terrorized, exactly. By the little freaks that are on the cards, like a spooky looking freak from a tarot card comes and gets you. That's not a bad idea for a slasher movie, but Tarot managed to do everything wrong.
Yeah.
So that it's boring and not fun.
The one thing, because you're like, okay, let's get a nice like 2002 horror film out of this. The one thing it didn't do that was incredible was that all the different murders weren't uniquely to the tarot card the person drew, and they didn't look well, I guess they tried to be, but they were pretty generic, and then the boogans all looked the same.
They looked disappointingly similar, yeah. And that was the other thing, is it was much more just like Final Destination, like the way people got smoked. Like they had these tarot themed boogans appear to kill them, but then they would kill them in just sort of random ways that, like you said, weren't connected to the tarot card and weren't connected to the fortune they got along with it.
And it was a PG-13 situation.
Yeah, that's already, you're already pedaling uphill with that.
It was very unclear. I remember if they could like some of the ghosts indirectly kill somebody, and then other ghosts just kill them with a ladder, just bash them.
Right.
It was like, it should have been 13 Ghosts. That movie is the Gremlins 2 of ghosts movies, right?
Yeah, I think I screamed that over and over again while we were watching it.
Yeah.
It should have been 13 ghosts.
It really should have been. They should have been a sexy ghost. There should have been a strong ghost.
Yeah.
There should have been like a weirdo ghost. Like, just give us.
I remember we talked about that at the movie night, but I love that just one of the ghosts in 13 Ghosts is just, what if one was just really strong?
Yeah.
Like a really strong ghost?
And that's it. And there's real problem.
That's all there
with
is to it. And yeah, you're right. And he's like the worst one.
Yeah. They're all like, oh, fuck, it's that guy. Amazing.
The other 12.
Because it's funny because, like, do ghosts need to be strong? Are they bound by their physical existence?
Yeah.
Aren't they all kind of strong?
Right. Like, are you stuck with your own mortal physical strength? Because that would suck.
Yeah. Anything else about Tarot?
Tarot.
I'm going to call it Tarot.
No, it was a bummer.
Let's talk. I want to talk about another movie thing we watched on movie night that wasn't a bummer, and that was Under Paris.
Oh, hell yeah.
Were you here for this?
Yeah, I was here for Under Paris.
Good.
This little gem has been hiding on Netflix for a couple of months, and we talked about the trailer on Hypecast.
Yeah, do yourself a favor, folks. see this movie.
Really, do it.
It's kind of in the deep blue sea shark genre. And what I mean by that is like characters are profoundly stupid in this.
Mm-hmm.
They have like the survival instincts of gerbils. Like there's multiple characters like willingly dive in the water at parts, who like get like spooked about the sharks and fall in the water. It's very stupid. And because the characters are so profoundly stupid, I don't want to spoil it, but this movie escalates to a degree you would not expect.
Yeah.
It's about sharks in Paris in the rivers. That's it.
That's where we begin.
And without spoiling it, things escalate to such a degree that you'd absolutely never expect it. It's kind of amazing.
Yeah, it unfolds like a kaleidoscope of banana sandwiches.
Yeah, it does.
It's.
Is there anything else to say about it?
I don't want to say too much other than they're both on Netflix. Tarot and Under Paris. Don't watch Under Paris.
Did you see Night Swim?
I saw half of Night Swim, and I think that's my review.
Yeah. I think we can move on.
It's really bad.
Yeah, just don't go in the pool.
Just don't go in the goddamn pool. Like they come up with a reason that you see coming from a mile away.
I don't remember it.
It's basically an evil fountain of youth. It's like, what if The Shining was a swimming pool?
Yeah, it was. That is what it's about. I fucking forgot. Yeah. Night Swim I'm putting on the shelf next to The Exorcism, the Russell Crowe movie, where I technically watched it,
right?
But I couldn't tell you much about it.
It unfolded in front of my eyes.
Yeah.
Like the light cast from that film entered my retinas, but not my memory.
Well, if we're talking about like mediocre movies, does the new Ghostbusters count as a horror movie?
I think technically, yeah, still it's in there. It might be the third or fourth thing you'd list in the genre, but it's ghosts.
Did you watch it?
I have not.
Okay. It's better than the first one.
Okay.
What I'll say is that it seems to be obsessed with, and this is not just Ghostbusters. This is like revival brain, legacy sequel brain.
Mm-hmm.
They can't, because of the nature of a legacy sequel, right? And like Beetlejuice, the new Beetlejuice has this issue too, and that movie's great. But for example, that movie has so many villains, or I should say antagonists. It's the fact that they have to keep
too many
the legacy character. Yeah, they want the legacy characters, but then they want to add new ones, right?
Right.
And Ghostbusters is that, where it's like we want all the old legacy characters, but we want podcast needs to be there, and the other ones.
Sweet. I'm glad they brought podcast back.
And then they add more. They added more, like Kumail Nanjiani. I love him. I don't know why he needs to be in it. He should have just. I don't know. Like, I'm not saying cut him. I'm saying cut like 5 other people for him. They add like new kids, and it's like literally by the end, there's the sequence where they have to like defeat the villain. Everybody has grouped up into groups of 4 or 5 people to do one task. At one point,
that's too many Ghostbusters.
Literally, all the legacy Ghostbusters at one point have to pull a single switch together. They're all grouped around it, like, and it's like, man, you need less people. Like, this is it. The ending is like crowded. It's crowded. There's like 15 people all working together, and it's like, what the fuck are we doing?
That is way
guys?
Too many Ghostbusters.
Yeah. But it does feel, people have compared it to like the Ghostbusters cartoon. It does feel like that more, which is good.
All right.
You know what I mean? Like the villain is like different. You know, it's like, ooh, I'm a weird ice demon, and it's like, hey, it's not fucking Gozer. You know.
That's true. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got some fun in it. It definitely has some fun in it. It's just, man, stop adding characters. I'm begging you.
pretty exhausted with Ghostbusters at this point.
Yeah, as you should be.
I'm all set with what we have.
Yeah. All right, this is still balanced towards things I've seen, so I'll rattle off a few more. Did you see Immaculate?
No,
because we covered the first Omen, right?
Right. That's what gave me pause.
Yeah. Immaculate has a lot of really fun ideas in it. I still liked the first Omen more. You know, we got a volcano. Dante's
I think
Peak situation.
I think we actually had a version of this conversation on that episode, right? I think you had seen Immaculate.
I don't think I had seen it yet.
Oh,
no.
Never mind.
Yeah, I'm sure I've said this to you, but yeah, Immaculate has a better ending. I'll say that.
I don't even remember how the first Omen ended.
Well, the first Omen, it was like Marvel. It was a Marvel ending. It was like we're setting up sequels.
Oh, now
and it
I
was
remember.
Like,
okay,
the fuck's going on here?
No,
yeah,
now I remember.
I love that movie. It's really well directed, but like that ending, it was like, what are we doing, guys?
That was
this
pretty
is weird.
bonkers. Yeah.
Yeah, Immaculate very, 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 very directly does not set up a sequel. And that's not even a spoiler because there's a million ways that could be done. It it's good in other ways. It sort of falls into the problem because it's the exact same premise, right? It's I'm at a nunnery. Nun house. Yeah.
Nun house.
And she has to slowly realize that like it's bad and like
it's a bad nunnery.
Right. And there's sort of that balance you have to do, right? Where like they can't realize faster than they can get away. Does that make sense? Like you have to realize it's bad when it's too late to escape.
Yeah, like when you're way too far ahead of the characters.
Yes.
And you're just waiting for them to figure out the thing that you've known.
Right, but you know that they can't figure it out until they can't escape. Because if they can escape, then movie's
there's no
over.
movie, yeah.
So like they have to do that gentle balance where like I remember thinking like, yeah, it is way too obvious at this point. Like she needs to leave. Anybody else would leave, but I only saw it once, so it was still very, very good. If you get a chance.
Yeah, no, I had been meaning to check it out, so going on the list.
Yeah. I have 3 more. You have 1, but the one is big for me. Do you want me to rattle off the rest, or do you want to?
Yeah, whichever. I could just say mine, I guess.
All right.
The Coffee Table.
I can't believe I haven't seen this yet.
You should watch The Coffee Table.
It's not a.
That came out. I'm not sure. It might have even come out last year, but I think it hit certain markets just this year.
I have a few that technically came out.
Yeah.
The Coffee Table technically came out in fucking 2022, Tom. But like a lot of these are like they're foreign films and they take us a minute. So
yeah.
This is the one apparently about a cursed coffee table.
It sure is.
About a couple.
Yeah. A couple with a new baby, and the curse unfolds from there, and it's surprisingly funny. It is very, very dark. It is a black comedy, but it is pretty funny.
Yeah, based off the premise that like is in the synopsis, I sort of know or highly suspect what happens in the movie. Mm-hmm. But I don't want to spoil even my suspicions. I feel like if you like a jet black comedy, just go into it blind,
like
right?
Coal black. Like it's like I think this is decent enough without spoiling anything. It's like if Mr. Bean was trying to conceal a horrible crime.
That's amazing. That makes me so excited. That's such a fucking.
Yeah. I mean, it's not that. It is not that. But that is the closest thing I can come up with as far as a comparison without spoiling anything.
I'm so excited to watch this. I'll have to watch it soon.
It's I mean, that said, it's not exactly a fun movie.
No, it doesn't. How is it, like 90 minutes at least?
Yes, yeah. It might not even be that. It might be cruising around the 80 minutes territory, swimming in that pool.
Yeah.
Taking a night swim in that pool.
Fucking night squint.
But if you're cool and bold and edgy, and you smoke cigarettes and wear eye patches, you should watch The Coffee Table.
Okay, yeah. I'm all those
You're
things.
all of those things.
Yeah.
You're wearing 2
right.
eye patches right now.
Yeah, I can't see shit.
Nope.
It's a real problem. All right, I'm going to tell you about Exhuma. This is available wherever. This movie, I think, is a nice little surprise because I forget how I even found out about it. I think I saw it on a random list. Like, had you heard of this movie?
I think I might have seen it as I was scrolling through one of the services.
This is a delight. It's not really horror. It technically is. It's horror more the way like Hellboy is horror.
Sure, yeah.
Although it's I'd say it's more leaning towards horror than that. It's South Korean. It's about a group of God, let's see if I remember this. It's about a group of people who are basically like Ghostbusters. It's like the paranormal investigation group in like Insidious, right?
Okay,
like
yeah.
or The Conjuring. They're like paranormal investigators / service people where the main guy, like they all like do their own thing and they all kind of know each other. So like the main guy, his business is he helps rich families. And I guess this is just it's presented as a thing that they do there that's cultural. He helps rich families figure out where to bury their loved ones based off like this physical location, about whether or not that will do good things for their spirit. And they're very much, and so one of the things he does is he exhumes bodies, and it's about basically them exhuming a body that appears to have an extremely intense curse on it that they didn't realize. And then it becomes kind of like, again, not an adventure movie. It's just more, it's more monster than you think. And it's just sort of like kind of nuts. Like, again, there are horror elements, but it kind of goes into more, it's hard. It's not adventure. It's not action. It's just a little more of a monster movie than you'd think. And it's very fun and weird. And
Sweet.
I guess that's all I want to say about it. I want more. Like that's what it is. It's the kind of movie where I'm like, I could get like sequels of their adventures. Like I could get a TV show of this. That's what it is. It feels almost like a TV show. It's like X-Files-y to me.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, where it's like paranormal adventures.
I love a good X-Files.
So I would absolutely, in fact, it reminds me of an X-Files episode more, like in the tone of like the back and forth where, X-Files can be scary, but it's not like horror, it's less horror movie scary. Does that make sense?
Depending on, in general, yeah.
Depending, obviously. Exhuma. It's everywhere. Sweet. You can get it.
It's probably somewhere in your house.
Yeah.
Hey,
the next one is, where did this movie come out of? This is also technically last year. This is also South Korean. Okay. Sleep, Tom. Sleep.
Right
this
now?
Is this is on streaming. I think we talked about it on Hypecast at some point.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. It's about a couple, newlywed couple, who have a baby.
Yeah. We definitely talked about this. I remember it now.
Yeah. And the husband begins to sleepwalk and do strange things at night. And he has like a sleeping disorder that gets more and more sinister. The only thing I'll say and this is very early in the movie, but it's sort of a spoiler. If you like dogs, maybe don't watch the movie.
If you hate dogs.
If you hate dogs, if you're a cat, fucking watch it. Dogs are perhaps in danger. Nothing graphic. But dogs don't have a good time in this movie is my point. But that's sort of the threat, right? It's about this. It's mainly about a woman with her baby who's terrified that her husband will do something to the baby while he's sleeping. That's the core of the movie. And where it goes from there is not where you'd necessarily think. It's very unique. It's sort of like kind of a mystery.
Cool. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, it's not a mystery in the sense that you're like, who did what? It's more of a mystery where you're like, this can go like 5 different ways. And I genuinely just don't know what way it's going to go, if that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure.
And honestly, when it ends, it's sort of up for interpretation too. There are things where they add in enough elements that it could have gone one of several ways, which is kind of interesting because they don't hide anything from you. It's just whether or not you believe certain things in it. It's cool for that reason.
Okay. Sweet.
Yeah. It's not even like, it's hard to describe. Like, it's not even like different interpretations of an event or unreliable narrators. It's simply that they put in the right elements that at the end, you're like there's just several ways, answers to the ending moment. That's kind of impressive.
I gotcha. Okay.
Yeah.
That's going up to the top of my list for sure.
Yeah. It's listed as a black comedy I'm seeing. I wouldn't call it a comedy. It's kind of funny in like things that happen go so wrong or like, like it's in a holy shit funny way.
Like when we were watching When Evil Lurks and it's just like, boy, this just it's getting almost comically out of hand.
Yeah, and Sleep isn't even that much of that. It's just funny that they call it a comedy. I'm just like, I guess. There's a levity in it. And the final one that I have that I do believe you haven't seen yet, Tom, is Mads. M-A-D giant S.
Big S.
Yep.
The
this
biggest
is on Shudder.
goddamn S you've ever seen. No, I haven't watched this movie yet.
It is. Oh no! This should also go high on your list. I think I want to hear your thoughts on this. This movie is overall, I think, pretty incredible. It is very hard for a zombie movie to impress me anymore because, and this is we talked about this in more hype. This is a movie that is presented like a single shot. So it is 90 minutes of time, basically, shown in real time. It is actually several shots put together.
Like
but
rope.
It's a rope.
It's
but
a rope,
zombies,
got a rope sitch.
The premise is it's zombie cocaine, essentially.
Oh,
it's
right. Yeah.
Yeah. These kids are doing a drug. Basically, it's a bunch of kids going out and partying, and this drug is going around. And you
damn
watch
partying kids. When will they learn?
Yeah, and you basically watch as a outbreak happens within 90 minutes. So it's essentially a very slow burn. And the first 20 minutes are very tense, but can be a little boring at times. Like there's an intenseness to staying with a character in a moment where you genuinely want to cut away. If that makes sense. Like there are moments where I'm like, oh my God, I wish we could just cut forward.
For sure. Yeah. No, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah. And it's just someone like having a panic attack or like freaking out. But there are moments where you're like, okay, now I just genuinely wish we could cut forward a little bit.
I want out. Yeah.
Yeah. Like I'm just getting a little bored now. But when it starts moving, boy, it starts moving. There is a specific sequence with one actress who is incredible in the sequence. This doesn't spoil anything, the park sequence, I'll just say. And it is watching like just a movie firing on all cylinders, where you're just like, she's doing amazing. These shots are amazing. What's happening is amazing. It's just like a very fun, like there's some really, really good sequences in this. It is, and it's not like, again, it's overall not boring. Like, it's not just like you can appreciate it from like a filmmaking perspective, but you can also just enjoy the movie, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Yeah, Mads, I keep thinking about, like, it's not my favorite horror movie this year, but out of the stuff that I've seen and you haven't, that's probably the one that stood out the most. But let's talk about the ones that we both have seen.
Yeah.
And that perhaps I've talked, I just want to start. Have you seen I Saw the TV Glow yet?
Not yet.
Okay.
But that's also near the top of my list. So I got to check out Sleep, Mads, and I Saw the TV Glow.
All right. So for these next ones, people have heard my thoughts on it, so I want to hear your thoughts more.
Yeah.
Starting with, I'll pick it. The Crow.
Oh, man.
How did you like The Crow, Tom?
I didn't overall. But I tell you,
fair.
There were a couple ideas I did like, and like the last 30-ish minutes are pretty sweet. When he finally gets to some crow business.
Yes. We talked about this and we just watched.
Yeah.
The most amazing thing the Crow did was didn't make him the Crow.
Yeah.
And thought we wanted a love story for 40 minutes.
Man, I think it was longer than that.
Yeah.
But that was a really bad idea. Obviously, I think part of the point of the original Crow movie is that we don't know anything about Eric and Shelley.
Yeah.
It's sort of about the idea of the randomness of crime and how it's, the idea of, crime is something that happens to other people. There's just sort of this nebulous idea, like a sort of an outline of a person.
Right. I think my only defense, I guess, is that reimagining The Crow as a more of a love story, like The Notebook or whatever, I can see like doing that. But one, you'd have to warn people if you're going to do that. But also,
yeah, right up front, do the Texas Chainsaw Crawl.
Yeah,
but
warning, this is not going to be the actual
This is a love
Crow
story captured, and anyway.
But also, like, it didn't feel good enough as one of those, meaning that every scene felt repetitive, and it was like, yeah, I get it. They love each other. That's why this happened like in the credits of the first fucking movie.
Yeah, I was going to say the love story was more impactful in the original movie, and it's, it's just sort of, it's not there, but it's there in impressions rather than these just droning scenes.
Because it kept being them just going to places and going like, I love you, babe. I love you too. And I'm like, yeah, they love each other.
We got it. But I liked the idea that he still felt pain taking the damage. And I also liked that he didn't know how to fight. Like, he was still the same person when he came back to life. So he's still just some dude.
Yeah, he just has to try over and over again.
He didn't get ghost karate powers.
I appreciate that too.
Like Brandon Lee. So yeah, there was a little bit of Edge of Tomorrow in there where, like you were saying, he had to just keep trying some things. Yeah. So that was fun. It was a little bit of Deadpool.
When he's the Crow, it really works.
Yeah.
It's just weird that he isn't the Crow for very long. Yeah. It's just, I don't know why they did that. It feels
real strange impulse.
It might be the most disappointed. Well, not the most. We'll get to that. But it was like the most blue-balled I felt. You know what I mean?
It was similar to being let down by Tarot for me, where it's like, well, all this really needs to do to deliver is be a competent revenge movie with the Crow just kicking lots of ass. But
I guess
it's not that until like the last half hour.
Yeah, I'm more frustrated by the fact that the movie is like, yeah, we know how we could make this good. We're just not gonna. Yeah. It's the Fish Called Wanda scene where he's stuttering and can't get the thing out. And then once they finally get it out, he can just say it without stuttering after the fact. Like, it's that where it's like, you're taking so long to be the Crow. And then when you are, it's fucking great. I don't know why. Why were you hiding this? Like, fucking weird ass movie. But yeah, I mean, it's weird because I'm like, yeah, I guess I want a sequel only because hopefully in the sequel we can actually get him being the Crow, you know? I don't know if they couldn't afford it or what. I mean, we're not going to get a sequel. That's for sure. No. But speaking of things that are frustrating, Alien Romulus.
Yeah,
that's another one.
I was really excited for this one, and that was another one that I was a little let down by because it's Fede Alvarez who did the Evil Dead remake and Don't Breathe, and the Evil Dead remake was just so gnarly and so mean, and so brutal, and so was Don't Breathe. Although I know you didn't care for that one as much, but I still enjoyed it. I really expected like a hard R gnarly ass alien movie coming from this director, and it's not that. Like because there's a to me there's I was expecting an element like a slasher movie element, because that's kind of what more of the more recent alien movies have been. You're just kind of looking for like, how's the alien gonna beef this guy?
Right, I was looking for more of the first Alien too, where it was like, let's get it, let's make it bloody.
Yeah, let's make it like really, really awful. Yeah,
let's not make it an action movie. Let's make it scary.
and scary. And so I was let down by that, but I did really like. I still think the directing was really good, and I really liked all the games they did in it. They did like the 0G sequence.
Yeah.
The cryo room sequence with all the face huggers while they're waiting for the android to reboot. There was a lot of fun in games sequences. It's primarily what the movie is, honestly. They go from one to the next.
There's no question that he's a good director.
Yeah.
Even Don't Breathe is well directed. For me, the issue often is the writing, and like this feels like this movie might have been bigger than him. Meaning that, like, I don't want to speculate, but if you're making an alien movie, I'm guessing you have a lot of masters. And it had Marvel brain. And that really bothered me.
There was a little too much, like, winking references for me, too. I in the sense that I didn't expect the member berries at all in an alien movie. Because, like, it's for a new audience. Like, the Alien is a pretty old series. Like, I don't know like how many of the teenagers and 20 somethings they were hoping to lure into the theaters with this movie they thought they were going to get cheers from by including these references to a movie from the 70s 80s.
It's so tough because like I think Alien Isolation knew exactly how to do member berries, in that the thing that people want that I feel like so many movies don't seem to understand is the world building and tone. Meaning that, like, when you play Alien Isolation, or like the Friday the 13th game, I don't know why I'm invoking video games, but they seem to be good at this. Or the Texas Chainsaw Massacre game.
Because we've had a lot more movie adaptation games recently that are all about the vibes rather than really telling a story or something like that.
Well, Alien Isolation tells a story, it tells a completely new story.
Yeah.
But it also is like, you feel like you're in the world, right? And it doesn't even just copy the world, it extends it. Where like the working Joes and like, even those little phone things, and like where even the extension of the technology feels like a natural extension.
Right.
Where it's like they looked at Alien and said like, well, what would that look like,
like kind of like the new Blade Runner movie, where it's like this is an extension of 1970s futurism.
Right, we're taking that world building, we're building a little more, and we're telling a new story. And the nostalgia simply has to exist in being in that world. That's all we need.
Yeah.
We just want to exist in the world again. We don't need them to say the line.
Yeah, I don't need a character to say, "Get away from her, you bitch."
Right, that's not where the nostalgia comes from.
And that's not what this series is, really.
Right. But it's also like fundamentally, like you think about the obsession with like liminal spaces today, and like, the shot where people will be like, here's what a fucking, do you remember Kmart? Here's what a movie theater used to look like. We love the aesthetic. That's where our nostalgia comes from.
Yeah.
So it's so weird that they don't get that. But what's frustrating about this film is it did. It felt like it was in that universe.
Yeah, I really loved the production design.
And I went into this really wanting to like it, and in fact did really like it, and even liked it, I think, past points where I shouldn't have. Like when Ash shows up, or rather when Ian Holm.
Rook.
Yeah, I was like, okay, not great, but I'm with you. Yeah. I'm with you.
The homunculated specter of Ian Holm.
Yeah. And it was like, that's a huge red flag. I think I said on the podcast, the moment that it lost me was the scene where they go into the room and they talk about the black goo, and the music plays the Prometheus theme.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's like this big so much reverence for this. And then he does this. Yeah. And then he goes like, so we check off that box. Let's do aliens real quick. Come over here. I'm going to teach you how to shoot this gun like an aliens.
The pulse rifle, yeah.
Yeah, they're just checking off the boxes in the scene, and then get away from her, you bitch, which was so unmotivated, was like the final straw to me.
Yeah. I did mostly like it, though.
Right on. Yeah, there's bits and pieces I liked, and then the fucking ending where it's like, it
was just Alien Resurrection again. That's true.
Why would you do that?
I did get a belly laugh out of that reveal. I was like, oh, when you saw that thing.
A little piece of shit.
That little freak.
Yep. It did look, the movie looked fucking fantastic.
Chicken-skinned son of a bitch.
Yeah. What a good looking movie. I wish someone else. It
does. It looks awesome.
I wish they wrote different movie.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. We can move on.
Oddity.
I really dug Oddity.
Yeah.
I liked Caveat a lot. I will say the one thing is I did not think Oddity was nearly as scary as Caveat. Yes.
I rewatched Oddity actually the other night. Caveat's way more scary. Oddity has its moments.
Oddity's very tense.
I would say that Oddity is not trying to be scary. There's a point
I agree,
yeah. Well, there's a specific point where you realize, because like the first half you're like, I feel in danger for the characters.
Right.
And then the moment, spoilers, the girlfriend is out of the picture, I'll just say that, you stop feeling scared for the characters and you start feeling like, yeah, get them.
Yeah.
And they did that on purpose.
And now the tables have turned.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I did really dig Oddity. I really like this director. And I will say that the murder, I guess, sequence is scary.
Man. Yes. This director this director to me is like a Mike Flanagan, and what I mean by that is like they're not reinventing horror. They're just doing it really, really, really good.
Yes.
So like you have these moments, like something that's set up in this movie very early is the character who in the trailer we know she's going to get murdered is in this new house, and she wants to look for ghosts, so she has a camera set up that's taking pictures every 30 seconds. And the moment I saw that camera, I was like, oh, fuck you.
God damn it. Yeah.
I know exactly what that's going to do.
Son of a bitch.
And there's so many moments like that where an element is put in place before it's even made scary. I'm like, oh, go to hell, man.
Yeah. Yeah.
Why do you have to do this to me? And yeah, the murder sequence.
It's pretty... Yeah, it's pretty tense. It's a tense movie.
Yeah.
But there is a point, you're right, where it flips and it becomes something else.
And it's more played for laughs. It's a funnier... The ending... without spoiling the ending is a meta gag. Because the ending is basically the filmmaker saying to the audience, I know that you know that there's going to be a thing here. Like there is going to be essentially a jump scare. Or at least this is the end of a horror movie, and we know that there's going to be one last thing.
And the scene is
we all know
obviously setting it up, setting one up, I should say, setting one of these scares up.
And what happens is a series of shots, and if you having rewatched it, there's like I want to say 10 shots in that ending little bit. Every single one of those shots is designed to set up a jump scare, and he knows it. And he knows that we know it. It's literally him fucking with us, being like, which one is it going to be? Is it going to be this shot?
Where is it at?
There's like a POV handheld shot, one of them, that's unmotivated. Like they just keep doing it where it's like, it could be this shot, it could be that shot. So like, generally speaking, the movie is more of like a game. Like I saw in theaters, and the moment the wooden man is introduced, like the whole theater just started laughing.
Yeah,
because it was just like, come on, man.
It's when he finds the body in Caveat, you're like, God damn it.
It's that where it's just like, what? Why is that there? And it's mixed with the fact that the sister is being so fucking trollish.
Yeah,
at the same time,
she's really being a top shelf prick.
Yeah, where you sort of know, like, well, she's up to something.
She's up to something. Yeah, and you anyway. Fun,
I'll say the
fun movie.
Yeah, the one, not really a hit against it, is that I knew exactly the twist in like the first 5 minutes of the movie.
Well,
but that's okay.
Part of the twists. There's more of the story that you can't really predict, but
yes. All right.
Moving on.
We got one last movie here.
Okie doke.
Unless we think of a new one. Tom, what did you think of Longlegs?
Oh, man. I really liked Longlegs. I was really into Longlegs.
Yeah. I love them long legs.
Love them long legs. I'm down with Oz Perkins.
I was delighted by this movie.
Yeah. It's scarier than I was expecting.
Oh, wait, we didn't. Sorry, there's one more movie. I just realized we skipped.
Oh, yeah.
Let's talk about Longlegs.
Let's talk about, yeah, you're right. I did remember the other one, too. We can just go through. I mean, we did episodes on these already, so we can go through them a little more quickly. But yeah, I really, really dug Longlegs. I really like Oz Perkins' direction. He also did Gretel and Hansel that we talked about. It was scarier than I was expecting. I was expecting something more Silence of the Lambs and True Detective, but it lets you know pretty early on that it is straight up supernatural.
Yeah, I like how X-Files it is.
Yeah,
I like how you feel
X-Files.
like Mulder is there. In fact, I want a spin-off with the main character and Mulder just being creepy.
He's somewhere in the vicinity.
The fact that
he's watching the movie through binoculars.
Yeah, the FBI has a protocol for psychics.
Yeah.
Like I was just like, oh, that's a Mulder thing to do. Yeah, it's like it's world building. Like it's a different world.
Yeah. And good deployment of Nicolas Cage. He's going way over the top.
So good in it.
But he's very well utilized.
Yeah.
I really liked Longlegs, yeah.
I loved it. It's weird that we said this during one of the podcasts. It's weird that he's doing the monkey and not Oddity guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because Oddity guy is all about cursed objects.
Yeah. But man, I really like Oz Perkins. I want to use this as an opportunity to point something out though about this year so far.
Mm-hmm.
I'm trying to think. I don't think there was a single movie this year that truly scared me without being also kind of funny. And what I mean is like even Longlegs, which is a freaky fucking movie, has moments where you're like, well, this is just funny. Like they know it's Nicolas Cage, like they know what they got. And so I'm trying to think of like which of these horror movies was the scariest.
I'm not sure. I'd probably say Longlegs.
I think so too.
Yeah.
And that's what's weird because Longlegs was still kind of funny.
They're still kind of funny. And there's still some moments like we were talking about in Oddity and Caveat where you see something introduced and you're like, oh, okay.
Yeah, you're like, Jesus Christ, man.
All right, movie.
Settle down. All right.
Let's move on to the last one. Movie. Yeah. This is the real final one.
Yep. Cuckoo.
Dave,
Cuckoo.
I loved Cuckoo.
Me too.
I loved Cuckoo. It's not scary. There is one sequence that is
it's
pretty
freaky.
damn tense. Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's some freaky stuff in it.
The bike is like...
The bike scene, yeah.
It was kind of a spoiler because they spoiled it in the trailer.
Yeah.
So I was ready for it. I'd say also the pool.
Oh, yeah.
It's not scary, but because you sort of know what's going on, but it's like tense.
It's pretty tense, yeah. And I loved where it went. It went in a direction... You can kind of predict some of it, but it went in a direction that I absolutely did not anticipate.
Yeah.
Hands
down.
I just wanted to say real quick, I would compare it to Malignant in that way.
Yes.
Like it's kind of that. I mean, like I said earlier with the coffee table and my Mr. Bean comparison, it's not that. Like it's not Malignant, but it kind of is Malignant.
Yes. Like, so I'd say what compares it to Malignant is that it's one of those horror movies that is completely it's so creative where it's like we're inventing new monsters.
Yeah.
You know, we're inventing new shit to be scared of, and I just love it when a horror movie is like, let's just invent a new thing. Let's like that is Cuckoo is probably the most unique movie of the year.
It's pretty high concept in that way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I really liked it. Everybody's having a lot of fun in it. It's sort of a mystery thriller. Dan Stevens is doing
a whole ass thing.
Of course he is. How could he not? Yeah. How could he not?
He's having a white hot year.
Cuckoo, it's hard because like I'm not trying to rate any of these, but I'm like, man, yeah, Cuckoo is. I think Cuckoo, Longlegs, and Oddity are probably my top. It's hard because Mads. I also really liked Mads.
Those three of the ones that I've seen, I think, are the most fun.
Yeah,
of this list, but yeah, for sure.
It's been an interesting year for horror.
Yeah,
fucking Cuckoo. It's just more like that.
Yeah,
I still haven't watched that director's other films. They're on streaming.
Neither have I. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, we did it.
I think we've done it. We've fulfilled our spooktacular obligation.
Do we want to shout out? You know what? I'm going to quickly shout out movies that I still haven't fucking seen, and I really want to.
Mm-hmm. The Substance.
I was about to say mainly The Substance.
Yeah.
Salem's Lot and Apartment 7A. I want to see out of pure curiosity.
I did watch Salem's Lot.
Is it anything?
It's aggressively fine.
Hey, that sounds fun. Very excited for Heretic.
Yes.
I keep almost watching Daddy's Head, and I will soon.
Oh, yeah.
Stop motion. I still haven't seen.
I still need to catch stop motion, yeah.
The Front Room, I don't really care about, but I'm probably going to check out when I can.
Mm-hmm.
It's What's Inside.
I watched that one, yeah.
Yeah.
It's good. I liked it a lot. It was similar, almost identical criticism to Strange Darling, is that the direction is a little loud.
Okay.
But overall, very fun movie.
Okay. And then some ones people haven't thought about. Handling the Undead, which seems more like a drama. And Rippy, the killer kangaroo movie starring Michael Biehn. We could watch that on Friday, Tom.
We probably
that's
will.
Out. All right. It doesn't look like... No, it looks like... Okay, it's out.
I'm sure we will eventually.
It's out. It's on YouTube. We can watch Rippy.
Let's do it.
Yeah. So that's it, folks. Hope you enjoyed this.
Yeah.
I did.
I did too. It was good to get caught up on all these things.
Yeah. Yeah. A little business. Did a little business.
We did.
And
speaking of doing some business.
Tom, by the way, so excited for Nosferatu. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Hell yeah.
We have a Patreon.
We do.
Patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed. GAMEFULLY unemployed. As we mentioned, we watch movies every Friday night. That's through our Patreon. We also have exclusive podcasts like Tom and Jeff Watch Batman, Fox Mulder is a Maniac, Star Trek The Next Futurama, and Spiel Boys. Check those out. Patreon.com/gamefullyunemployed.
Do it. We also have a store. Head over to gamefullyunemployed.com. You can find a link to our Teespring store, where we have all kinds of cool original artwork and designs you can get on t-shirts, mugs, stickers, posters, all sorts of things. Check that out. And also check out our new show, Batical. Check that out.
Ah, Batical! Check that shit out.
Check it out. All right.
Happy Halloween.
Yeah.
Get your spooks on.
Roast some chestnuts on an open pumpkin.
Yeah, get your nuts. Get your nuts in that pumpkin.
There's nuts in that jack-o'-lantern.
Hey, listen, our music is produced by Chris Corlew. You can find him on twitter.com as the Corlew, or go to shipwreckedsailor.bandcamp.com. Our channel artwork is produced by Michael Vincent Bramley. For more of his work, go to mvbramley.art. Our episode artwork is by Justin Brown, available on Twitter as Justin T. Brown or at Artness by JustinBrown.com. And finally, additional artwork is by Starlene Hodge. You can find her work at StarleneArts.com or on Twitter as StarleneX. Cool. Goodbye.